Welcome to She Who Heals, the spiritual business podcast for healers to take up space and talk about the services they provide. When healers serve more lives, more people are able to live in the peace and joy this world has to offer. I'm your host, healer, and spiritual business coach, Alyssa K. Barrios. Hello, everyone. I love we're starting this episode with giggles. That is a sneak peek of who we have on the episode today. You guys, we have such a special episode today. This is the first spiritual business healer that I have on our podcast who's graduated from the program, who is living just such an incredibly exciting life. And I can't wait for her to share more of what she is doing and all she's offering and how she got to this place of full of genuine giggles. Like, these giggles are such a blessing to why I do what I do. And it's not every healer and every day that we get all of these incredible giggles. Like, this is such a gift. You are such a gift, you guys. We have the MysticMoon Heals, Monet Benson, here on our podcast. We are blessed. Enjoy the activations. Monet, hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm so good. I'm giggly. Happy to be here. Very, very ready to get into, this space with you.
Yeah. That was my next question. Where did these giggles come from? Where is that? What activates them?
They just come from straight from the belly up through the heart. And they just are an expression of my life force. I'm just a happy, bubbly person who loves life. And that's where the giggles come from. They just burst and bubble out,
When you said it's your life force, every giggle just reminds me, like, you're alive. You're here. You are living.
Yes.
You are living.
Absolutely.
You're living.
Every giggle, I'm alive, baby.
And what a reflection that you give to the world, like, because you're living, because you're sharing your energy and you're living, you're reminding all of us to live and to be. And I'm so excited for you to be on this episode. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for living, and thank you for choosing this life, and thank you for all it is that you do. And I know you're going to share a lot more of your journey and what it is you do. So let's begin with my spirit-led question that I'm excited to ask you. What is your ancestral lineage? Where are your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents? Where is your family from?
So I've been thinking on this question, and what comes to my heart is sort of the trio of lineages that I feel the most connected to in spirit and the most connected to in sort of the stories I've heard from my family about who we are and where we come from. And those are lineages of Irish ancestry, Russian Jewish ancestry, and Hispanic ancestry that I believe is from Mexico. So those are the three that I feel the most connected to, and like I said, I've heard my family talk about the most.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
As you shared that, my body just like instantly had chills. And I always say, like, those are the divine chills, whether it's like ancestors that are here. They're like, oh, excuse me? Did you ring? Did you call me in? I'm here. You're like a level of ascension. Yeah. Right?
Right? Did you call me in? Because I'm here. I'm like, yes, I did. Welcome. All of you, welcome.
Thank you. I don't know if I'm thinking of Mushu from Mulan, like arriving all of a sudden when like Mulan is on her like village quest, or I'm thinking of like Hercules, where those incredible goddesses came in cheering him on, and I'm like, what? That's real life. Like, that's not a movie. Like, this is real.
This is real. This is real. And I think when I say, like, who I connect to spiritually the most, that's what I'm talking about, too. It's like that feeling of like you think about your ancestors and then you just get that feeling, and then you get like the spirit communication from like signs and symbols of, you know, like a commercial for going to Ireland will come on as you think about your Irish ancestors, or an Irish song will pop on my playlist. And I'm like, oh, okay, so that's an Irish ancestor just checking in, seeing how I'm doing, and reminding me that I am always supported by, you know, my Celtic ancestors. And when I'm with my mom and I'm talking about my grandmother, because that's where the like Russian Jewish family comes from, where the name is Talsky, it's just very like, I don't know, it just reminds me of Russian Jewish people. And they're just like, this like wild woman, like strength in the medicine woman comes to my body, and I feel it inside of me. I feel it. And, you know, I share that with my mom and see that reflected in her. And my Hispanic lineages are coming to me more and more and more. And I was always afraid to embrace them. For some reason, I just felt like maybe I didn't belong in that way. But because I'm very European presenting, I'm a white-skinned woman or a light-skinned woman. And so I was always afraid to embrace that because I didn't want to take away from, you know, anybody else's culture. But I've had to break that down and really embrace all of who I am. Break down that fear and break down that shame of taking away from others by embracing who I am, because that's not what's happening. You know, that's just a limiting belief and a fear that I put on myself to try and be, you know, I don't know. I don't know why I put it on myself, but it was there. So really breaking down that wall and allowing myself to like tap into that lineage as well has brought so much healing and brought me back. Like everything brings me back to the medicine woman within me, because I feel lineages from these, you know, areas of the world that my family has blood within, blood ties to, calling out the medicine woman within me. Yeah.
You are such a gift. I could listen to you all day. Like literally, you are such a gift. And when you say medicine woman, all I think about when I see you and I'm around you and I interact with you and I receive your energy, whether you're showing up on social media, whether, right, just through a story or just through a post, like I literally feel the medicine that you give me as a woman, as you give my feminine. It feels so safe to be surrounded and receiving your energy. And I want to now ask you, when did you realize you were a healer?
Yeah. This question has been on my heart too, because it's sort of been a lifelong process for me. But I knew that I was a healer when I was a little girl. I knew that. I knew I wanted to help heal the world. I wanted to help people to feel loved and seen and heard and held from a very, very young age. And I remember the adults in my life, you know, my mother's friends, would always refer to me as an angel, you know, and that was another thing that was always hard for me to admit because of this like humbleness that I wanted to hold on to, of like, oh no, that's nothing. It's just who I am, you know, but that's because it's who I am. I have a very like loving energy that I just want to share so freely with the world. And I think that really, like seeing the way that helps other people to feel loved and held has really filled my cup in so many ways from a very young age. So I knew as a little girl that I wanted to be a healer, that I wanted to help heal the world, that I, you know, wanted to just give a lot of love to the world because I have a lot of love to give. You know, going through life, I didn't really come back I kind of stepped away from that just by circumstances of life, and came back to that probably the most fully after graduating college and really trying to find my purpose and really find out who I am, find my center, really begin to heal my own self, because I had gone through so many initiations of life, you know, really focused on a lot of goals that I had and a lot of like things that I had to prove to myself that I could do. Once I like sort of proved to myself that I had the strength that I always knew that I had, then I realized, well, you know, I haven't really been taking care of myself. I've got a lot of healing I need to do, you know. I did therapy in college, and that really, 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 really helped with the emotional healing, like amazing, amazing emotional healing, brought me out of a really dark time in my life. I think that healing jump-started the possibility for me to do a lot of spiritual sort of overall healing, holistic healing, when I came out of college and wanted to find my center. And I was working for a nonprofit treatment facility for at-risk youth, really finding out what it meant to be a healer for people in the physical realm and to really be a support for kids that were struggling with, their own emotions and their own behaviors and their own trauma. And it was really activating for me to find out that was a huge trigger for me, because I had a lot of unresolved trauma from my childhood that needed deep, deep healing that went beyond just talk therapy and into, okay, how do I integrate this into my body too? Because a lot of this trauma is stored inside of my body. And so I began to seek out like spiritual healing. And I realized that it was the type of healing that was for me, that really felt good for my body. And once I integrated, sort of 2-3 years of healing, of focusing on that healing for myself, and within that realized that I wanted to share all of this healing. And I think that's when I really, really felt the concrete need to be a healer, to not only heal myself, but to then share the healing that I was learning for my own body, and realizing that being a healer doesn't mean that I am going to heal people and solve all their problems, which is what I wanted to do initially. But surrendering that and realizing that that's not actually what a healer looks like, And so learning what a healer looked like too, and breaking down the sort of preconceptions that I had of what a healer was, allowed me to realize, like, okay, this is something that I can do. This is something I'm meant to do. This is part of my purpose and my passion.
There's so much there's so much that I want to unpack in all you just shared. And first off, again, thank you for being so authentic and being you. And I'm so grateful that you have brought up mental health therapy and how much that really helped you and transformed pain into a story and into next step guidance. And I think a misconception in the healer's journey is that we believe healing through spirituality, such as through our modalities like Reiki, EFT, shamanic practicing, like CBT, like whatever it is we do, I think that gets misconceived that we don't believe in traditional therapy. And I'm like, that's far from truth. Like, I still have my therapist that sometimes, like, it's a co-creation. Like, there is a reason to all of this offerings that what we do have when it comes down to healing, because there's many therapists I do know that are really great at healing. And they've even asked me, hey, you talk a lot about healers. Am I a healer? And I'm like, yes, you love and you genuinely love and you do the work because you want to help people. Like, that's, for me, that's what a healer is. When you mentioned going deeper into your spiritual journey because of the stored traumas, and also it just reminds me so much about the spiritual business program and the work you did in there. It's like understanding spiritually that you aren't responsible for everything. And unfortunately, we didn't learn that much as children, which as empaths and healers who knew, like you mentioned at a young age, you knew you were a healer. Well, you weren't given that education or the wisdom at that time to know that you aren't responsible for everyone. And so as we get older, we continue to hold on that heavy energy of like feeling responsible for everyone. And then, I mean, I can literally relate so much to that. Like, I almost went to law school and I knew I did not want to, but like, I was like, I'm responsible for everything, so I need to understand the law. But that did not bring me joy and comfort. It didn't. Like, I was like, wait, what's my truth? And until I started working with the healer, I then got closer to my truth. So how would you say your experience is, how would you describe your experiences working with healers? What was that like for you?
That was the biggest, like, cracking open moment of my life. Like, receiving healing from another person through them simply holding space and offering their healing tools, like, was like so profound for me. And, you know, working with my therapist, I kind of touched on that. That was one type of healing. But then when I received my very first healing, I was actually in college still. And I was taking a Healers and Healing Practices anthropology class. Yes, probably the most favorite class I've ever taken. And we were tasked to write a paper on an alternative healing method. And I chose Reiki. To be honest with you, I can't even remember why I chose Reiki. I it just came to me, how divine things do. Yeah, I just was really drawn to that healer. And so I visited her shop, asked to interview her and receive a session from her so that I can feel it and experience it for myself. And that was the first time, and first time seeing like a healer in action. And I thought it was really amazing. And I just had this like really peaceful moment, that like expanded my consciousness in a way that I had never felt before. And then fast forward, through college, because I got swept up in college, like I said, and just kind of focused on the goals of graduating. And stepping out of college, trying to find my center, began to talk to friends about taking Reiki again, or receiving Reiki. Reiki came back into my field again. I had a friend who said, hey, let's go get Reiki certified. Like, she found a class and she found a teacher, and she asked me if it was something that that I really wanted to do, because I had said I was interested. And she's like, well, if you really want to do it, like, here's an opportunity. I'll go with you. It's just like, okay, this is amazing, let's do it. So I did. And that was my first time, working with a healer who was also teaching me their practice, their healing modality. That was an amazing experience. It was a very supportive experience. It was another consciousness expander. And when I say that, like, when I experienced my consciousness expanding, it was during the meditation to receive the initiation of being, Reiki attuned. And just that she was doing the symbols and guiding us through the meditation, just holding that deep space for us. And I literally felt like my eyes were closed, and that you can feel the space around you. I felt the space around me expand, and I can feel more space in the room with my eyes closed. That's the best way I can describe it. And I could just feel myself opening up to the world, opening up to spirit, opening up to magic and light and love, and just expanding my ability to hold that and see that in myself and see that in the world. That's sort of, been my journey of working with healers since, is expansion and illumination and awakening.
I never knew that story. I had no idea that's how you found Reiki.
Yeah.
That is incredible. How long ago was that?
That I was certified, or that I did my first session with a class? So I was
certified.
When I was certified, that was June of 2019. June of 2019, so very close to my birthday. I'm a Cancer. June 29th is my birthday, so it was very in alignment. And then shortly after that, I attended my first women's circle, which then broke open a whole nother layer of healing for me on the physical, really women's work, getting into the body and releasing that trauma physically and energetically. That opening experience led to so many different opening experiences after that. And I think what it taught me was how to stay open and to continue being brave and to continue seeking out these things that spirit was guiding me to trust the numbers I was seeing, to trust that, people that were popping onto my Instagram field that were lighting me up and giving me empowerment feelings, oh my goodness, this is what I want for myself. I can see myself living this way. I can see myself healing this way, following that guidance and following that light and what feels good.
And you mentioned you're on the realm of the discussion of where I would love to take this for listeners, because when you see these confirmations, when you see these numbers, when you feel those feelings of empowerment and you're being mindful of the body, right? This is what I'm feeling. And I was just talking about this today on my stories of sometimes we think too much about the detail. Well, what does she cost? What does she offer? What am I really going to get out of this? I kind of just want to be STFU. Stop. What a waste of stepping into the divine magic of not knowing everything. I think as humans, we just want to know everything, which is why college is so agreed upon, because it's I know I'll have this degree. I know I'll get this job. I know I'll make this income. Boring, because there's so much more. Okay, see, now I'm answering the question I wanted to ask you of why be open to receive magic? Why be open to receive love? Why do you do the work to be open?
That is such a good question.
Oh, you know I drop good questions.
Yeah. And then especially as a projector, I'm like, ooh, she's asking the good questions. Okay, let me feel into that, you know. Okay, we're getting into the juicy juice.
Juicy juice.
Magic is literally something I believed in since I was a little girl. Little tiny little girl playing with fairies in the garden and pretending to be a magical healer or a mermaid and really just being in love with my imagination and my creativity and how that allowed me to dance with the universe and dance with the mother and just Mother Earth and really just connect to the world and just be in this play pretend energy that just allowed me to be so free. There was no rules and no structure. Yeah. And it was all in the name of like good energy, love and light. Nothing felt dark or scary, you know? And if it did, then I knew how to fight it off with the light and the good always winning. And this energy of this pure imagination, pure creativity, pure magic carried me through my childhood, carried me through life, and that's like a spark that's always been inside of me of, what if that is real? I wonder about this. I'm curious about this. Oh my goodness, look at this. And just really like enjoying the curiosity and wonders of life. If we close ourselves off to that, we close ourselves off to the magic of life by not being curious and not wondering. And that happens so easily because we get wrapped up and swept away by the busyness of life and by the rules and the structures and everything that we need to do to the to-do lists and the need to-dos and the have to-dos. And while those are important, they do play a role in our lives because they are sort of the masculine structure that helps us to get forward and pave paths and get the work done. So I'm not saying that that's not an important thing to have in your life. Structure is very important. Especially if you're a very free-spirited person like myself. I'm always having a balance of structure because if I get too free and too into my divine feminine, then I'm very loose and I'm not very responsible when I'm too free-spirited, right? So you got to have the balance. But through it all, keeping yourself open to curiosity and to wonder keeps you open to the magic of life. And when I began working with Reiki and when I began doing this healing work that brought me back to that place of curious wonder, I was reawakened to magic and to realizing that like, oh my God, like magic is real. It's not just some fairy tale thing that we made up to tell stories to kids, to keep their imagination alive. And, it's not something that we have to lose when we get older or anything like that. It's real. It's real everyday wonders and miracles that we have access to, that we have an abundance of. And I think abundance is a key point to that too, because when I started to do abundance work, my eyes started to open again to the wonder of the world.
Yes, yes, yes. 1,000 million abundant times just saying yes to this because I was going to ask you, but of course you answered it as I'm thinking of it, energetic. But yes. Okay, going back to the full circle moment of being a child and believing in all the magic, and literally I was writing so much of what you were sharing because it's so true, like allowing yourself to be free and nothing felt scary. You use this light energy, you use the magic to keep yourself protected. So it just reminds me so much of why healers exist, why we need to exist, because we lose, and this is what I believe, in order to have the magic, in order to have the curiosity, we have to have faith. We have to have faith that it's all going to work out. We have to have faith that we're going to be supported. We have to have faith we're going to have food on our table. We have to have faith we're going to protect our families. We have to have faith that we are going to be and exist and stay alive. And we have to have faith, which then leads into trust. I trust myself. I trust the universe. I trust others. However, because we've been so broken through trauma, because we've been so pulled away because of the brokenness, the traumas, the pains, the lack of healing, right? Like, I'm not saying we have to be I'm not, trust me, healers, we all go through our own ish. Like, that's not, like, just because you're a healer doesn't mean we don't have any darkness anymore. We don't get hurt anymore. No, it's just we know now how to heal the moment it's happening, which means we transmute that into magic still. So we're unstoppable. And so that's why I think of like your Reiki, and Reiki is the medicine. It's the healing. And why, obviously, too, like you mentioned, like your consciousness elevated so much and it brought you back to that childlike belief of magic and curiosity and play and joy, because it's like you were healing the fear, right? And the fear replaces the trust. If you don't have trust or faith, it's because you have fear. And I'm not saying fear is bad, but I'm just saying fear is a sign of healing. Oh, I have fear, so let me step into my healing, so then I can transition into the magic, the play, the curiosity, the joy, the love, the opportunities, right? Did that make sense? Like, I'm like, I just jumped into like my manifesting like vision where I see the big picture, and
yeah, so good.
I think this is a perfect segue, and of course share whatever else that can come up from what I just shared, but what's been your experience now being a healer and helping others on their healing journey?
I have to admit that that's an area that brought up a lot of shadows for me. Required, and still does require, a lot of healing and shadows because of worthiness work and sort of like the imposter syndrome that goes along with that too, of who am I to help this person heal? Who am I? What do I have to offer? And all those ways that support other people if I'm still supporting myself. So finding that balance of taking care of myself and doing my self-care work and worthiness work while supporting others on their journey. And really that's what it's all about too, with, you know, especially with the way that I work, is I work through experience, sharing experience and sharing, you know, what I've learned, and coming to this place where I'm fresh out of healing. Some of it is still raw. Some of it I'm still healing, but having seen results, realizing that like, oh shit, this works, you know, and wanting to share that healing with others. That is what encourages me to continue on and to show up for myself and to have confidence in myself and in the healing abilities of the modalities I've been led to. So, you know, with that said, it's been an amazing journey. It brings me so much joy to see others finding spaces that I'm holding for them to be a place where they feel safe to be heard. They feel safe to be seen. They feel validated, and in a way that, you know, confirms that what they're feeling is right and true, no matter what they feel about what they're feeling. That we get to feel our feelings full spectrum, no judgment. And so really offering a space for that, where, you know, you can feel whatever you're feeling and feel safe to feel that, and then heal it, because I'm a firm believer that you have to feel it to heal it. That is a mantra that came to me very early on when I was realizing that for myself. I was like, oh, if I want to heal all of these things that I'm feeling, I need to feel them and not hide them. So healing that within myself taught me what it felt like to have space held for me, to really fully let these things out, and then the importance of letting them out and feeling them through because of the healing that follows. But yeah, so this is definitely something that, like, it's super rewarding for me, and I'm so grateful that my calling is to hold space for people to feel their feelings. And it is also one of my greatest shadows, is learning how to show up for people consistently too, to do the worthiness work of, am I worth their time? Am I worth their resources and their energy? And also, like, am I ready to hold that space? Am I ready to be consistently there for somebody? Am I ready to be creative enough to offer something that's going to be healing and offer a service that's going to be valuable for somebody? So I am constantly dancing between that. And a lot of that has to do with my sort of free spirited. I'm learning more about being a projector and how that does play a role in that, and sort of my like very watery Cancer energy, and how all of that just plays a role in me understanding who I am and where I can best serve and how I can best put my energy out and put my energy in. So it's a journey. It's a journey that I'm still on, very like every single day. Yeah.
And I always say thank you so much for the work that you're doing, because it is such a testament to the commitment you have to yourself, because that's truly what we're all here doing, is being reflections of one another. If you're really understanding to take responsibility for your journey and your life and your creations and the results, right? Like having that home, having that partner, having that job, having that income. It's not like you have to do more and study more to have it, but it's more of, well, what are you doing for yourself to open yourself to receive? And you were working so hard. Mm-hmm. I just want to remind healers and whoever's listening, and even, to share with you that we decide for ourselves, and we decide that how I've been made is my gift. There's not many others like that, unless you're a healer or an empath because I think we forget that how special we are. But you mentioned too, like growing up, you're an angel on earth, and you had this, well, that's just who I am, but that's you. There's not many people out there like you. So that's what makes you so needed. And I think we forget that, because maybe it's society and maybe it's marketing and propaganda of not prioritizing or understanding the power of healing and healers. So of course we're starting to have to pave our way. And that's like a mantra of mine. Healers, know your purpose, take your action, and take up space, because we can't expect other people to do it for us. That's not anyone else's job but ours. And the more we really decide, I am gifted because I exist, I am supported because I know spirit is there, I can hold space because I exist, right? Like there's nothing more you have to do. It always comes through you. It always comes through for you. And then it always comes through for who you're serving. So what made you decide to create a healer's business? You signed up for the spiritual business program probably about almost a year ago. In July, you signed up. I'll never forget that voice memo I got from you, by the way. I won't share it on the podcast because that was a sacred moment between you and I. But when I got that voice memo, I was like, this is my fucking purpose. Like, you are just so rad. I was like, this is why I'm here. Like, these type of messages are why I'm here.
Yes. I love that so much.
Thank goodness I showed up, because I was able to receive that. Why did you decide to create your healer's business? And you're committed to it. Why are you choosing to stay committed?
Oh, yeah.
That sigh right there. That's like the opposite of the giggle. Like that sigh is like, I'm living and it's hard. Right? And the giggle's like, I'm living and it's fun. Yes. But both are signs you're living.
Yes, both are signs we're living, and both are the dance, the two dances I dance with the most, of like, oh, fuck. The shit's hard. But we're gonna do it anyways, because that's what we fucking signed up to do. Excuse my French, but that's what it is, you know? It is what it is. And, the giggles remind me that, like, it can be hard and fun at the same time. Hard and fun at the same time. And that is a lesson I'm teaching myself on the daily. And just, before talking about or answering your question, I remember being, again, on Instagram. This was Instagram was a great place for me to start receiving, like, medicine from people, right, about empowerment and whatnot. And I was following somebody who was sharing what was helping them to sort of be happy and stay in a positive, happy place. And anyways, what they would say was that they chose happiness daily. And I began to adopt that for myself. I was like, you know what? I choose happiness daily. And I've gone through the motions of that. Like, you know, I don't want to bypass any shadows. I don't want to, you know, really anchoring that in and integrating it in a way that allows me to still feel full spectrum, to still, like, you know, face my shadows and go through the shadow work and, you know, face my fears and do all these things that are hard and scary, but to choose to be happy while doing it. As much as possible, whenever possible. And that really, really lifted me out of some serious, like, mental health sort of declines. And still does whenever I feel my mental health sort of declining. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but when I feel depression coming on, when I feel anxiety coming on, I just feel the clouds start to form in my mind. I'm like, okay, that's okay. We're allowed to feel this. But just remember that we get to choose to be happy when we want to be happy. When we know it's time to shut the door on this shadow work, we get to choose to be happy at any time. And I think that is one of the reasons why I choose to, you know, I chose to start a healer's business because I wanted to make that commitment to myself. Like, I was starting to make commitments to myself that would change and shift my own energy and my own ability to keep up with myself and maintain my energy and to maintain the passions and the visions that were coming forward for me and sort of having a place to put them. Like, okay, I'm receiving all these downloads. I'm receiving all this healing. I'm, like, really connected right now, like, super connected to the earth and to spirit. Like, my channel is on fire. And the best way for, like, what is going to be the best way for me to channel this and to serve the medicine I'm being given to serve. And having a healer's business gives me the opportunity to have something to do with all of that energy that moves through me, that is me, that is God speaking to me and through me, that is the mother of the earth, you know, speaking to me and through me, and just really finding a way to cultivate services that anchor that down for me to share, if that makes any sense at all.
Why? I want to know why. Why anchor your services? This is a teacher moment. I'm like, I feel like I know the answer to this. I do, but I just want to hear it. Like, why? Why anchor your services? Yeah.
I mean, because, and I don't know why it's hard for me to answer. I think because I'm always checking back in with my why. And I know my why is my center. And so my my center is my heart, and my heart is love. You know? And it's so that I can keep sharing love, keep sharing that vision and that love I had as a little girl, keep sharing that love in any way I can. Having that commitment to share the love gives me a place to put the love. And so having a healer's, right? Does that make sense? Having a healer's business really, like, challenges me to put that love somewhere and not just keep it inside because of the things that make it want to stay inside, like fear and limiting beliefs and being scared of being seen and doing something wrong, or maybe just all the icky fears that make us stand in our own way. Having a healer's business allows me to have that commitment where I'm like, okay, it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be scared, but it's time to get out of your own way and serve, because you were sent here to serve and to love and to play and have fun and to share that with whoever is meant to receive it.
Do you believe there are those out there who are here to receive what you're sharing?
I do. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because there have been so many confirmations from spirit moving through others, alignments of connecting with people, you know, either in short bursts of a moment or in longer moments or in friendships or in any type of relationship, small or large, that have reminded me, you know, of the capacity I have within me to love and to share that love and to help others to feel their own love inside of them. Even if it means, like, having to sharing my love so that it activates the feeling of love within them, and then they can love themselves.
Love is so healing. It is the most healing form of medicine.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I have witnessed your healing. I've received your holy fire healing, and literally I was so overwhelmed with work at that season of my life, and I had signed up to work with you, and literally you made me feel so at peace where I was instantly just glowing. And I remember just having the best weekend that weekend. I've even witnessed your testimonies from other clients, and I know that we can be hard on ourselves, and I know that I had a friend of mine in college tell me, like, you're so modest, and I didn't realize how true that was. And I don't think we fully take not ownership, but I guess take pride in the results of what we've had in someone's life and the journeys that we get to see unfolding for them. Because who knows why? Maybe we're being critical. Was that really us? Was that not us? No, that was all them. It really wasn't me. But it's so important that we understand how much we all truly help and assist one another, especially when it's coming from love, right? Because I think of times where I've worked with those that are here to help me, but when they didn't move forward with love for themselves, it was hurtful for me. I've even worked with coaches who I knew and felt there was a lack of self-love there, and then it was harmful for me, and I was receiving that. So it reminds me too, like, how important it is for us to love ourselves and to show up in the ways that we can, because we really all impact each other's lives, and we can choose to impact in a loving way or in a not loving way. And not spreading love is only pain. Spreading the love is healing. At least that's how I envision it. What vision do you see for healers in the world?
I just have a really beautiful vision in my mind of healers. And I have this vision of healers lighting up the grid of the earth, meaning lighting up our souls, the souls of the humans of the planet and beyond, beyond just the human species, but just focusing on the humans for the sake of this conversation, lighting up the grid for the human hearts and souls here. Right.
Well, that's a whole other conversation if we talk beyond humans.
Right, exactly.
So many layers.
Yeah, so many. But yeah, I see the grid being lit up. I see people having like normalized conversations with healers about their awakening, about their feelings. Oh my God. I see people getting in tune with their feelings, and I see healers activating that space for them, right? Like that is like number one vision of what I see. And then, an additional vision that I see is more circles, more gatherings, more places where people can come physically or virtually, show up 100% as themselves, 100%, even if that means scared shitless that they're in a circle full of people they don't know, even if it means they're hurting, or maybe they're lit up, maybe they just started their own business and they're there to heal anything that's holding them back from going forward in their business. Maybe they're going through divorce or loss or whatever it is that they're going through, bringing that up and showing up 100% raw human form as you are to spaces that are safe and magical, that allow magic to flow through each other and allow intuition and feeling to be fully present and not hidden and fully seen. And I see this because I have felt this before. I know it's possible. And I know how deeply healing it is to show up with people, whether it's in sisterhood or brotherhood or a mixing of people, like just showing up in the wounds that are healed and showing up 100% as yourself and allowing, what happens in the circle to guide the healing, because, the divine is there with you. You're gathering in the name of love and healing. The divine is there with you. God is there with you. And God wants you to heal. God wants us to be healed so that we can heal. God wants us to spread the healing upon the planet and light the grid up, right? Like that is the mission we've been sent here with. And to do that in one-on-one ways, to do that in group coaching ways, or, holding, space of groups, just to share the medicine and receive the medicine. Oh, that's what I see. And it's beautiful.
God wants, for me too, I think like God wants us to know we're safe in our hurt. Like we're safe. It's okay to surrender and to ask for help and to feel. It just reminds me so much of what you're sharing of like, be honest with your feelings. Allow each one of us to just show up exactly how we're feeling without having to mask it, because there's so much deep connection to magic. I feel like when we're in that space of like sadness and a discomfort, right? Instead of like I was taught to avoid it, or it was too much, but that's where all my magic came from. My magic came from. Literally, the magic comes from like feeling sad, feeling upset, feeling angry, feeling frustrated. Like so much magic can come. Oh, I get to speak up for my needs. Oh, I get to have what I want because I spoke up for my need because I was angry or frustrated. Like, oh, these are all actually in favor for me. Luckily, I'm a healer and I know that, and I get to help others.
I think that's one of the earliest lessons I learned in this journey, is that life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. Mantra that carries me through. It means that every experience, every time you interact with another human, it's this concept of being a mirror for each other, right? And what we see within the mirror is a lesson. And so no matter what interaction we have, any positive or negative, full spectrum interaction we have with the world and with the people within it, everything is a lesson for us to come back to our center, to come back to love, to come back to who we really are and what we really want and what we really need from this life.
You have such a grand, strong vision, and I know what's on your heart, and your journey is very powerful, and I thank you for sharing so much of it with us today. And we need you. What services are you offering right now so people can get in contact with you, or how can others receive this wisdom and activations?
I am offering distance Reiki. And if you are local to me in the sort of Lake Elsinore, Southern California, well, Southern California is pretty broad, maybe like Inland Empire area. I do offer in-person Reiki when possible, but I also offer distance Reiki. And I feel very called to continue my work with the chakras and healing and aligning. So I'm offering one-on-one chakra alignments, healing and guidance sessions. And in the summer, I will be offering my second Reiki 1 and 2 initiations. And everything else is still a brewing. So when it's ready to be shared, I'll be sharing that. But that's what we've got right now.
Instagram will definitely be linked in our show notes and tagged. I want to ask you though, I am all about the chakra alignment. But for those who may not know, why chakra alignment? And I really believe, I just want to share this too, is that chakra alignment is such a powerful place to begin your healing journey. And not only begin it, but also be reminded. Because many times through chakra alignments, I know beings are like, oh my God, I'm powerful. Whoa, I'm a healer. So if you're wondering if you're a healer, if you're curious where to start, I'm all about the chakra alignments, but I want to hear from you. Why chakra alignment?
Yeah. This is an initiation I've been walking down for like a year now, maybe a little more. But for me, aligning my chakras has been this journey of that integration of the full body system, my physical, spiritual, spiritual, and mental. Thank you. I'm like, there's one more. And just really aligning all of who you are and going through this like step ladder of getting to the root of who you are so that you can rise through all that you are. And it makes it a really like learning to tune into your energy and to heal your energy and to heal your body and your emotional well-being by tuning into your chakras really is this like step-by-step bite-sized process that allows you to heal and activate in a way that is sustainable, because it's something you can always come back to. So like starting at your roots, you're diving into your survival, you're diving into your primal energy, your ancestral energy, your beginnings of who you are. When you dive into that gives you strong, sturdy foundations to then grow from. And then you move through all the different sort of archetypes and associations that each energy center has and holds space for. And you just get to learn new things about yourself. And I find every time I move through each chakra that I find alignment with the universe. Like, alignment is the number one thing that happens for me when I'm working on my chakras. In this 14-week journey that I'm on right now, and, you know, I've brought some sisters along with me. It's been an amazing journey. Today is the first day of the third eye healing, of the connection to higher self. And it just makes so much sense to me. And it's so aligning that I'm sitting here with you, you know, allowing my higher self to just roam free and play in this conversation and really just like tune into who am I and why am I here and what is my purpose and what do I have to share and that question of why, you know, coming back to your why too and allowing that to be anchored in. And so just having this opportunity at the beginning of my sort of third eye healing just is so aligning.
Wow, we're already on our third eye. That's so crazy because I'm on this journey with you, and the emails and education you give, I'm telling you, oh my gosh, Monet, you are so activating. There's so much wisdom within your soul, and it's powerful. That's wow, exciting. Third eye, and we're here together. That's powerful. And when this will be released, we'll be in our crown chakra. So that's even more exciting. What is your future self telling you right now?
Honestly, it's very simple. She's telling me to, little by little, keep going, keep moving forward, little by little. And I'm trusting that. There's an ego or just a self inside of me that wants to push forward, full steam ahead, and let's get it done. And I know how quickly that burns me out. And so my higher self is reminding me that I'm on the way to all that I am meant to be on my way to. I'm learning everything I'm meant to learn. I'm exactly where I'm meant to be right now in this very moment. So it is okay to just take it one step at a time, little by little.
To create such a grand result. Bit by bit, little by little.
Yeah.
Per usual, so much fun talking with you, so many activations, and through the giggle, such deep healing, just being in your space. And for anyone who is looking to begin their healing journey, looking to work with a healer like Monet, I couldn't recommend anyone else but you are such a strong healer to especially dive deep into the beginning stages of this journey. You hold such a sacred space, and I'm excited to witness your journey continue to flourish. And I can't wait to work alongside you, continue to work alongside you. So thank you for being here and all that you do for us and our healers.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alyssa, for holding this space, for, you know, being the amazing creator and goddess and space holder that you are, and healer and educator. You know, I learn so much from you all the time, and you're such a leader. I feel anytime I'm with you, I know I'm heading in the right direction because I trust your light to lead the way, you know, and I know that's a huge responsibility for you. So thank you for showing up for that.
You're making me cry.
All tears of love.
Tears of deep healing. Tears of deep healing. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you too.
You guys, if you enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, and share. Share. Right, Monet, like the power of sharing these stories. If you're called to share it, if it resonates with you, there's a much grander purpose and reason to sharing it because there's someone else that is here to receive it. And it doesn't matter if you're listening to this years later or time and space don't exist. So whenever you're called to share this episode, tag us. Who knows what we'll be, but just keep sharing and allow allow your guidance to lead. And thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting She Who Heals, because the feminine is on a mission. We're on a mission, and healing is our purpose. So I love you all.